Yeah, welcome everyone. I would like to apologize to the journalists and the translators for our delay. We come straight from a workshop. I would like to introduce everybody present at the press conference, and I start to the left-hand side, a fellow journalist colleague, Nick Mathiesen. He's a business correspondent at the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. Previously worked for The Guardian and The Observer, and directs the Tax Justice Network's Illicit Finance Journalism program, so he trains journalists in handling whistleblower information and so on, and was also working in that function with the consortium of investigative journalists, which was involved in a cover-up of LuxLeaks. Then, to the far right from my perspective, is also a very interesting guest today, and we're very proud of having him here. And I would like to say that we first approached Antoine Latour, who was very important for LuxLeaks, and he submits his greetings, but he could not make it here for a very simple reason, because it might have very adverse effects for him in a legal sense, and he was worried about that, and we respect that. And the more we are happy to have Rudi Almer with us, who's also a very eminent whistleblower and who gave up a lot in his life. He was 20 years at Julius Baer Bank, manager of the Caribbean operations for 8 years, and he blew the whistle on Cayman Islands activities in 2008. And then to the left of him, to the right from your perspective, is Marisa Mateus from Bloco de Esquerda in Portugal. She is the vice president of the new formed taxa committee that has been constituted due to our pressure. We wanted an original inquiry committee, as you know. Now we have a tax committee, and we are very happy that at least one vice president is from GUA, that's Marisa Mateus. We have another vice president, but the vice president of the European Parliament, Dimitris Papadimoulis, from Syriza. And I think he has a lot of headache also on tax evasion, since you all read about the revelation of around El Dorado gold. And by chance, the headache causing there is the Netherlands. And I think I heard rumors that the finance minister of the Netherlands is also the president of the Eurogroup, but that's a different story. So I would like to pass straight on to Nick Mathiesen. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks very much for coming. Just a quick clarification. I'm not actually in the ICIJ. We've trained ICIJ journalists and continue to do so, but I have worked in the tax abuse and money laundering corruption areas for over 10 years. I came here today really to kind of just give an understanding of the scale of tax avoidance in Europe and in the UK, and also just to kind of articulate how Europe plays its part in individual member states. European countries I like to refer to have a certain black box when it comes to various tax policy measures, and the list of countries offering huge benefits to both high net worth individuals and corporations is long. I mean, Luxembourg, obviously, Belgium, the Netherlands, my country, the UK, Gibraltar, Malta, Cyprus. I'm not sure if I've missed anyone out, but all of those countries have distinct benefits, whether it's huge exemptions on royalty payments, intellectual property payments, capital gains tax, inheritance tax. There is, in a sense, not so much tax competition, but tax wars. This is driving policy to the bottom. There is a race to the bottom, and it means that Europe is right at the centre of the tax avoidance story. And when people try and expose that, countries like Luxembourg or Switzerland, not in the EU, are, rather than prosecuting the perpetrators, are going after those people brave enough to actually blow the whistle on this situation, which is a mad situation, a mad world, and I guess this is why we are here today.
Thank you, Nick. I pass on to Rudi Elmer.
Thank you. My name is Rudolf Elmer, and I'm a Swiss whistleblower. I'm here to talk about the banking side of secrecy jurisdictions. So my case is actually a banking scandal, which turns out now into a judicial scandal and in a media scandal. Because judicial scandal is that Switzerland, the judges and courts, they go after me, but they don't go after the bank. I provided authorities with a lot of information on what Julius Baer does in the Caymans, but there were no investigations performed by authorities. There was only an investigation against me. They had names like Bin Laden Constructions, Arturo Augusto Chaparro, the Mexican drug dealer, and so on in the data, but it was not investigated because they came to the conclusion that it's not related to Switzerland. Even so, I filed a complaint at the Federal Prosecution Office as well as the local prosecution office in Switzerland. The tax authorities, and that's really a surprising one, the Tax Commission of Zurich decided that the data cannot be investigated because the federal tax authorities wanted to investigate the data. They weren't allowed to, so all the Cayman data of Julius Baer has not been investigated by authorities, Swiss authorities, I have to say. In Germany and in the US it was. And I think with quite a success, what I know. But anyhow, it is important to know that it's not only a scandal which is related to the banking industry, it's also a scandal to the judicial system. And in the judicial system, I've learned I can't win this case only with great lawyers because it's a political issue. And it's highly political that in Switzerland, a Swiss whistleblower is going to win a court trial. That can't be because it's going to send the wrong message to society or to the criminal society that Switzerland is a safe place for tax avoided, or even worse, money laundered money.
Thank you very much, Rudi. I pass on, before we open the floor for questions, to Marisa, and final comment for Dimitris.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your presence, and especially to our invitees. As Elmer was just saying now, we are talking about a political issue, so I would move for the political issue. And the reason why we are organizing this conference in this moment is because we are trying to call for the political implications of these situations associated with tax evasion, tax fraud, and also of a very unfair tax system. So we have been working on this, and I think this is the moment. And of course, with all these important invited guests, we want also to take this opportunity of this conference in order to present our own political proposals from our parliamentary group. We have been working for many years on these issues, but now we are trying to synthesize our proposals and to bring it out. Today we'll have the chance to discuss about it. But of course we have to deal with these issues because in terms of policy implications, this system of unfair tax system really has huge consequences. For instance, in terms of tax havens, we are talking about an understated wealth and income figures that estimate that between 21 to 31 trillion dollars is the amount of private wealth parked in the offshores. And that means that it deprives the sovereign states of tax revenues in multiple forms. And we are talking, for instance, of a loss of 189 billion in annual tax income to wealthy individuals and 100 billion dollars in multinational enterprises tax avoidance due to profit shifting using tax avoidance finance schemes, for example. So these amounts, we are talking about something like, which represents 4 times the gross world product, and almost the same amount which was spent in all the bailout programs in the periphery of the Eurozone. So this is huge, and we need to really face this, because we are undermining the fair burden of sharing amongst taxpayers, making a huge modification in the tax contribution system, of course putting all the burden more in the workers rather than in the capital, which is not so taxed. So, and this is, as I said, a huge thing, because this is contributing a lot to accelerating the inequality among individuals and societies. So these, I don't want to take more time, these are our guidelines, our main key issues to deal with these subjects that we are now trying to deal with. Just a very limited part in the tax committee, in the new committee. That's the problem. We are just dealing with the top of the iceberg. So it's important to not let this being closed, this door, because this is undermining the power of sovereign states. And is also putting a lot of unfairness in the society. So we will discuss throughout the day, and of course we'll bring our own proposals on these issues. Thank you.
This huge tax fraud and tax evasion creates a huge lack of transparency, a huge lack of justice, a huge lack of fair competition between different enterprises. And also is the other face of the ugly face of the unilateral austerity policy, because the weaker part of the population, the unemployed people, the pensioners, the people who take some salary, pays a lot of taxes in order to cover that gap. Our effort is to prepare, with the help of the expertise and of some brave persons who are present here, proposals, alternative proposals, in the national level, in the European level, in the global level, because it's a global problem, but it's also a problem for the member states, but also for Europe as a whole, as a structure. And our political group will use all that data in order to present alternative proposals in all that levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitris. Before I open the floor, I just want to alert you, I think that a background paper has been handed out with some key issues, with some key proposals of GUE NGL, how to tackle tax avoidance and tax evasion. Secondly, I would like to bring to your attention that currently in the Taxa Committee, which I'm also part of as a shadow for GUE, we have a conflict over access to this information, because we had proposed initially the inquiry committee to get better access to national documents, as most of tax policy is taking place in member states, at member states level. Now they slimmed down the list of documents considerably they want to give to us, and they also haven't answered yet the question whether we will be able to invite Mr. Juncker, who I think would be a very insightful participant of our taxa hearing. Third of all, I would like to stress that we are battling currently for a safe cloud at the level of European Parliament, meaning that whistleblowers such as Mr. Elmer can safely pass on information to us as elected representatives, or partially elected representatives, if you look at attendance in last European elections. And this is also something that has been not very welcomed by the majority in the House. And I always tell them the only reason this committee exists is because there has been some whistleblowing. And we strongly believe that there is a legal way to protect whistleblowers if they can expect that they're blowing the whistle on something that is in a higher public interest, regardless of how a court in the end decides on the matter. They should be legally protected. There have been proposals by trade unions, by Transparency International. We will push these forward, and we will certainly push forward our proposals on drying up tax havens in Europe, because Europe is a systematic tax haven itself. Thank you very much. I open the floor for questions.
How can the European Parliament expect a safe cloud for whistleblowers when the European Parliament's own whistleblowing policy is weak at best and almost non-existent?
That's a very good question indeed. We think that we want to change the approach of European Parliament, and hence we would like to tie down also the other political groups. There are technical solutions. The Guardian has applied one safe technical solutions. Also, staff would need to be trained. We think that to review all the data, we need more than these 6 months granted to us, and it can be extended, the mandate. And within this time frame, we want to create an infrastructure where whistleblowers can approach us safely. And if you're right with your perception that the European Parliament is not willing to do so, we have a very friendly offer to our colleagues in European Parliament. We are currently assessing the possibility of creating such a safe cloud ourselves as GUE NGL, together with the help of technical experts, and we will happily share our information with whoever else in this House needs access to these information without certainly endangering the sources of information.
Sorry, my name is Alexandre Mato, you correspondent of Capital Radio and contributor for El Confidencial. I wonder about, my question is about the new Commission plan to fight tax avoidance. I would like to know the opinion of the speakers about this proposal from Commissioner Moscovici about put in place some, from time to time, periodically exchange information between member states about the tax rulings that they are engaged with multinationals. Would you think that, or do you think that this is enough to fight tax avoidance within the European Union from multinationals?
Obviously, it's not enough. My short answer is too little and too late. We think that we need stronger alternative proposals, not only in exchanging information, but also in protecting sources of information, like Fabio already mentioned, and also creating legislative tools in order to avoid the extension of that big scale of tax fraud and tax evasion.
And additional on this European Commission proposal, first of all, we have to take into account there's nothing new. What Mr. Moscovici is proposing is something which already exists since 1977. So I think it's a little bit shameful that such an alarm is made around something which is already exists. It's just a question of putting into practice. And secondly, I think, and the most important when we take into account that proposal, is that promoting transparency to promote the dissemination of information, to improve or increase the literacy of the taxpayers, doesn't mean blocking the centralizations of profits and the fraud and doesn't block the fraud and the evasion. So of course all the things which come bringing more transparency we are in favor, but is not that we are talking about. We are talking about transparency, of course, but much more than this, and all the negative effects of these things which are intrinsic to, inside the very own capitalist system will not be fighted or blocked by this proposal of the Commission.
I have been signaled that we already have to close, but I want to say to the journalists that our guests are still here and approachable even for individual encounters, and I would like only briefly to add to the last question, as Marisa said, there was a directive on information exchange since 1977, it's older than me. It has not been followed up. However, it was spontaneous information exchange, now it's automatic. That's a progress, yes. However, we demand that this information can be publicly accessed, because otherwise, I know what finance ministers do with this kind of information. It lands somewhere in the bin because there's a systematic interest in tax competition, and damaging tax competition. Secondly, we certainly think transparency is the first step. We also need some minimum level of corporate taxation to not anymore allow this kind of disastrous competition. Thirdly, we believe that profits should be more taxed at its source. And fourthly, we believe we need these resources to invest, to kickstart the European economy, and the resources are out there, and that's why we're here today.
And just finally, who is going to deal with information? Please do ask EPSO. They have a very good study on that, because with the cuts, with the reduction of professionals, who is going to deal with information? When we talk about LuxLeaks, we are talking about 18,000 pages, and we are just talking about one enterprise. So if we have this exchange of information automatically, in an automatic way, with no people, with all the cuts associated with austerity, we don't have professionals, enough professionals. So who is going to deal with it? Who is going to treat it? Who is going to, at the end, bring the outcome, which is the meaning of this automatic exchange? If there's nothing done on that side, we will not have more access to information as well.
Thank you very much, and apologies to the translators.